Have you ever waited for a message that never came? A text you sent? An email you wrote? A question you asked someone, hoping they would answer, but they just didn't? It hurts, doesn't it? It makes you feel small. It makes you feel forgotten. But what if I told you a story about a man who waited for a reply? Not for a day, not for a month, but for 10 whole years. And what if I told you that the reply he finally got changed his life forever, but not in the way you might think? This is the story of Arun. Arun was a quiet man. He lived in a small town, in a small house, with a small garden that he loved more than anything. He wasn't rich, he wasn't famous, he was just simple. Every morning, he would water his plants, drink his tea, and sit on his old wooden porch. But Arun had one habit that made him different. Every evening, he would take out a pen and a piece of paper, and he would write a letter. Just one letter. The same letter to the same person, every single day. Who was he writing to? Years ago, when Arun was a young boy, his father had left. He went to the city to find work, to make money, to give his family a better life. He promised he would come back. He promised he would write. For a few months, letters arrived. Arun's mother would read them out loud by the lamplight. The letters were full of hope. Soon, his father wrote. Soon, his father wrote. Soon, I will be home. But then, the letters stopped. Arun waited. He waited by the door. He waited by the window. He waited for the postman every single day. His mother told him, "He is busy, beta. He will write." But he never did. Years passed. His mother passed away. Arun grew up. He never went to the city. He never became rich. He stayed in that small house with that small garden. But every evening he did one thing. He wrote a letter to his father. He didn't know if his father was alive. He didn't know the exact address anymore. He just sent it to the last place he knew, in a big, crowded city. He wrote about the weather. He wrote about the mango tree in the backyard. He wrote about how the garden was blooming. He wrote, "I miss you, Papa." And every night, he waited for a reply that never came. The people in the town thought Arun was strange. They whispered, "That poor man, still writing to a ghost." His friends told him, "Arun, let it go. It has been 10 years. He is not coming back. He is not writing back. You are wasting your life." And you know, those words hurt Arun more than the silence from his father, because a part of him knew they were right. One evening, Arun sat on his porch. The letter was in his hand, ready to be mailed. But for the first time, he couldn't write. His hand felt heavy. He looked at the sky and asked himself the question he had been avoiding for a decade. Why doesn't he reply? Am I not worth a single reply? Does he not care? The pain hit him like a wave. It wasn't anger. It was worse. It was the feeling of being invisible, the feeling that the person you love most in the world simply forgot you existed. He decided he wouldn't write anymore. What was the point? He was just talking to himself. He put the pen down. He went inside, and for the first time in 10 years, no letter was written in that small house. The next morning, he didn't sit on the porch. He didn't look at the garden. He just stayed inside, feeling empty. The waiting had finally broken him. A week passed, then 2 weeks. One afternoon, there was a knock on the door. Arun didn't want to open it. He didn't want to see anyone. But the knocking continued, soft but persistent. He opened the door. Standing there was an old woman he had never seen before. She was dressed simply and her eyes were kind. In her hand, she held a small, dirty envelope. She looked at Arun and asked, "Are you Arun?" He nodded, confused. The woman smiled, but her eyes were wet. "My name is Kavita," she said. I was your father's neighbor, in the city." Arun's heart stopped. Kavita continued, "For 10 years, your letters came to our building. Every single week. My husband and I, we saw them. We knew your father." She paused, taking a deep breath. "Your father, he passed away, Arun, a long time ago, just a few months after his last letter to you. It was sudden, an accident. He never had the chance to say goodbye." Tears started rolling down Arun's face. He had imagined this, he had prepared for this, but hearing it was different. Kavita held out the envelope. "We didn't know what to do with the letters. We kept them. We thought maybe one day someone would come looking. My husband passed away last year. While I was cleaning his things, I found this." Arun took the envelope. His hands were shaking. He opened it. Inside was not a letter from his father. Inside was a piece of paper, yellow and old, and on it, in handwriting he barely recognized, was his father's last address, written by his father years ago. And below it, in a different pen, a small note. "If anyone comes looking for my son, please give him this. Tell him I loved him. Tell him I was coming home." Arun fell to his knees. His father hadn't forgotten him. His father hadn't ignored him. His father had loved him until his very last breath. The silence wasn't a choice. It was a tragedy. Kavita knelt beside him and whispered, "He never got your letters, Arun. But I think, somehow, he knew you were writing. He knew you were waiting." In that moment, Arun understood something profound. For 10 years, he thought he was waiting for a reply, but he wasn't. Those letters he wrote, they were never really for his father. They were for himself. They were his way of holding on to love. They were his way of saying, "I am still here. I still remember." The reply didn't come in the mail. The reply came in the form of an old woman, a yellow piece of paper, and the truth. The moral of the story is this: sometimes you wait for an answer that never comes. You wait for a text. You wait for an apology. You wait for someone to notice you, and the silence hurts. But don't stop writing your letters. Don't stop sending your love into the world. Even if you never get a reply, the act of loving, the act of hoping, it changes you. It keeps your heart soft. It keeps you human. And maybe, just maybe, one day, 10 years later, you will find out that you were never forgotten. You were just loved from a distance.